and welcome to what I hope is going to be a brief webinar on inclusive practice in PE. I'm Rebecca Foster. I am a principal lecturer at the University of Worcester, and here is my counterpart.
Hi, my name's Alice Smith. I'm an assistant principal and PE teacher and was formerly a trust-wide PE lead.
So together we are going to hopefully give you some words of wisdom.
So I got in touch with Rebecca because we were doing work around our inclusiveness of our physical education curriculum. And what we were really good at doing was utilising STEP to create inclusivity and also the physical inclusion spectrum. But what we needed was specific support for young people with physical disabilities. So I used Rebecca's book to inform some CPD that we ran across the trust, and in reaching out with Rebecca, could see that there was an area of support that we needed, which was around students who were hard of hearing and their opportunities and experiences of physical education.
So seeing as you've mentioned the book, Alice, I thought I'd better give an overview of what it's about. And I created this book with some colleagues, and it's got the busy teacher in mind. So in theory, it is not an academic book. It is a practitioner guide. A lot of information is in one place, and therefore a quick, easy reference for people who are really at the start of their careers or people that just might want some ideas. So I've listed a few of the things that the book has, but things that people have already mentioned that are particularly useful is what teachers can do before a session, during a session, and after a session. And the second thing is the teacher assistant cards. So if you're lucky enough to have teacher assistants in your class, there are some activities that they can do with the young people. So that gives you an idea of the book, and that's why Alice, as she said, got in contact with me.
Okay, so what specifically was our problem? So the PE department hadn't received recent CPD specifically to support students who were hard of hearing, of which we had a number across the school because we're a school that actually have a unit. Staff were concerned that sometimes students who were hard of hearing were missing key information within the lessons. It was interesting when we looked at the data that actually no students who were hard of hearing had opted to study GCSE PE. We also track all of our enrichment clubs and numbers, and the engagement of students from that group was lower than students without hard of hearing or other SEND needs. We didn't have any specific support for hard of hearing students in PE. I know that some schools will have teaching assistants in there, but we just have the PE teachers. But actually what worked really well for the students was them relying on their friends and using support. So what we knew was that the experience that these students were having meant that they weren't selecting to study PE further along the line and actually weren't able to engage with the opportunities in our enrichment that we had on offer. So what we did, I reached out to Rebecca to kind of support with this, having read, the support strategies within the book. And the first thing we did was meet with the students to really understand their experiences of PE and PE lessons. And the kind of key issues that we had with pupils were worried about receiving the wrong information, being embarrassed, how they might look if they were asked to demonstrate or lead the front of lines, they hadn't heard instructions. We also found that the weather conditions affected students' experience of PE, particularly outside, if it was windy. A number of our students wore radio mics and they fed back some practice that PE teachers were using, which made that quite difficult. For example, blowing whistles into radio mics, or the difficulties with, extreme wind, and also the distance of the student away from the teacher. And the students requested that they'd be really interested in more demonstrations and modelling rather than just spoken word. And we actually used the modelling part as a focus across the department anyway, to help engage students so they can understand exactly how to perform the skills that we're teaching them. So what we did is we then, working with Rebecca, I led some CPD specifically to the PE team so that they had kind of specific deaf awareness training, spoke to the teachers about the feedback that we had from the students. What was really nice then is the students kind of saw me as someone to talk to about that, and they felt really pleased and confident kind of feeding back and having like new ideas. And the idea of developing a sense of deaf identity. So those students knew that we were trying to make change. They felt important in that. And as part of that, we were really lucky that we had a deaf Olympian come in to the academy to work with the students. That gave them an opportunity to understand that actually just because they were hard of hearing, there was opportunities for them. And then from that, we took lots of pictures, did a big celebration, and there was a notice board promoting this experience. And it just gave the students a really, really positive experience in physical activity and PE, and it made them a lot more kind of confident going forward.
So the impact, again, from what Alice has said, it was for me was very, very positive. So that communication where the teachers have taken time out to speak to the pupils, and then the staff have given some time in their staff, valuable staff time to discuss, that was absolutely key. So that open-mindedness and willingness to learn and try new things was exceptional. As a result of that, the hard of hearing pupils felt as though they had a sense of belonging, whereas before they felt somewhat isolated, because again, they don't want to stand out any more than any child does by not understanding something. So by being asked and listened to and then spoken about and with improvements, these children all of a sudden began to think that they had a voice in the class. The fact that the relationship between the staff improved significantly, and the staff also felt confident now. Before they were a little bit standoffish to sort of ask anything. They were very politically correct. What can we say? What can't we say? And the staff were also empowered because they wanted to know some basic signs. So that gesture, because none of them could necessarily do a BSL course instantly, you know, it takes weeks and months. But the fact that they were willing to use gesture more, and they asked some of the children what some of the signs were that they can use into the class. And as Alice said, the staff became very more microphone aware just because of the intensity of that sound in their radio mics. So for me, it was very much a happy children, happy staff. Everybody felt that they won from this situation, and therefore it was very overall a very positive experience with a short amount of time. We didn't have to spend any money. We did give a little bit of staff time, but you still had bags of other stuff on your agenda that you had to do. But everybody came to the table thinking, yeah, we can do something. And so with the minor tweaks, the impact, I think, has been huge. So that's our little nuggets of information that we hope might be useful for you. So please go on and get in contact with either Alice or myself and have a look at the book. It might help. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.